अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। यन्तः प्रवेश मम वाचमिमं प्रक्षुब्धम् सञ्जीवयत्यखिलशक्तिधरस्वधाम्ना अन्यंश्च हस्तचरणश्रवणात्वगादिं प्राणान्नमो भगवते पुरुषाय तुभ्यम्। Okay. So we shall begin. Thank you for joining us, Hari Priya and Sandra. Thanks for joining us on the Heart Space. So we are in the process of exploring the 9 islands of the heart, and we're getting very close to the last one. We'll cover this island of friendship, of Sakyam, today for the very last time, and then next week we'll start with Atma Nivedanam, which is the last island of the heart. So in this island of the heart of friendship, can you all hear me properly? Okay. In exploring this second last island of the heart, called the divine friendship, then we've discussed how to have friendships on 3 different levels: someone who's superior, someone who's equal to, and someone who's junior to you. And then we also discovered different components of friendships last week. And today we will discuss about how to relate on the level of equals, which is called, we have 3 layers: Uttama Adhikari, Madhyama. Uttama means someone who's senior to you or more advanced in their wisdom. And the Madhyama is someone who's equal to you on the same path of spiritual awakening. And this one is someone who's your peer. And so in this level of friendship, we're going to give you 6 stages or 6 levels of loving exchanges that if you were to maintain with the partner of equals or peers, then you'll be able to fully relish what is divine friendship. So in a text called Nectar of Instruction, there is a great saint. His name is Rupa Goswami. He writes the 6 exchanges of divine friendship. And those 6 are Dadati Pratigrihnati. Dadati means in this divine friendships, you must always focus, not always, part of this exchange is that you must offer gifts to others, to these peer friends that you have. What does that mean, giving gift? So there is gift giving in the mode of goodness, there is gift giving in the mode of passion, and there is gift given in the mode of ignorance. You can give someone a gift, but that gift, if it's degrading to that person's consciousness, it is considered a gift that is not the best gift. That's a gift in the mode of ignorance. And then there is gift you can give, it helps another person to elevate one's consciousness. Such as of something of value that you find value. It helped you in your life. Say, for example, something that might help me is reading a particular book. Say I read a book called the Brahma Samhita. And when I read this book of Brahma Samhita, it helped me to elevate my consciousness, and it opened up different aspects of my being. And I'm so excited for Lonnie to have this experience that I have had. So what do? I show up at Lonnie's birthday and I say, Lonnie, look, I got you a gift. And what is it? It is the Brahma Samhita. Why? Because it's something that I value. It has given me scope, and it has given me knowledge whereby I was able to better myself. Some aspect of me has risen up. And so that is the gift that I share with someone else. Something that is lasting, not just for temporary beauty or looks and things like that. It's something deeper than meeting the external requirements. So this is the dati, giving in charity to others. It's a very big part of spiritual friendships, where you offer someone of something of value. I give you an example of this. There is a great saint, he is available now, and he visits Atlanta too. And he has maybe about 200,000 disciples. And he's from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And very interestingly, when he was young, he had a very loving relationship with his mother. So his mother, out of loving friendship with her son, she gave him a book. It's a book on how to build communities. It was written by the pastor of her church. Even though he was practicing a different faith of spirituality, she felt that this book would actually help her son, her dear friend, in his life. He took that book, he studied that book on how to build communities. Now he has built communities all over the world. He is one of the most popular bhakti practitioners. And so this is how, when we say giving gifts and accepting gifts, is a very important principle of having loving relationships. Many times people are very happy to give gifts, but then they have difficulty receiving gifts. They just surprise people with gifts and they just don't want anything for themselves. I'm not sure some of you may have noticed this tendency that we have. We give ourselves to others, we give, and we give. And in the process of giving in charity, charity means something that comes from the heart. And we forget that it is okay to receive. That it's not that it has to be only about the other person. It's okay to receive, and you receive it from your heart, from another person's heart. So this is called pratigrihnati. Means receiving with your heart, whatever it may be that someone offers from their heart of value, you receive it. So these two principles of this divine friendship is very, very important. You will notice there is a land called Vrindavan. Vrindavan it's a town of 5,000 temples. And in Vrindavan, there is a personality named Krishna who is very dearly loved by all the residents of Vrindavan. They just see him as their friend. And when he goes out to play with his friends, then the friends, they are constantly picking berries and fruits, and they are acknowledging the beauty and the value of those fruits and flowers. Please understand, it doesn't have to be mundane. It is the deep intrinsic spiritual value that you see in things, that you take that and you find that value in it, and then you're able to share that value with your friend. Someone likes to gift, like I got an iPhone as a gift. I thought it was okay. It's nice iPhone. They gave it to me as a gift. I accept. But imagine if someone gave me, say, the Garga Samhita, or these ancient texts that are so deeply nourishing to the soul. And so when you give something to someone, that they can not just relish it once, but that they can relish it every single day, and it lifts that person up. It elevates that person. These are the exchanges that we're talking about. Dadati pratigrihnati. Giving charity and accepting charity. Sometimes as simple as a child that picks a flower from your garden and comes to you and offers it to you and say, "Hey, mother, I found this beautiful flower. And when I saw this flower, I thought of how nature is so beautiful. And she created this flower. And I bought this flower. I brought this flower for you." Your world is completely enriched by this exchange of your son who just picked a flower from the garden and gave it to you. Because they saw value in you. They thought of you when they saw that value. They saw the beauty in the flower, and they saw you as the proper recipient of that beauty. So this is called Dadati Pratigrihnati. Very important. Every day in life, when we meet friends, we have to always think of these friendships. What is it that this person, what can I get this person? It could be as simple as you making a little effort to think of that person, and what is that person's level of consciousness, and how you can help to support that person's growth. So these two principles, very important to remember, exploring this island. Guhyam akhyati prichati. Akhyati means to inquire. Many of us, when we meet friends, we inquire about superficial things. Hey, how was your day? Hey, how are you? It's like the most common things we use in America. But to really inquire about the condition of that person's mind and their heart. What is truly going on in their lives? And by the quality of our question and the sincerity of our desire to connect with that person will then reveal their mind to you. So humbly inquiring and being the recipient of the revelation of their journeys in life. Very important part of friendship. You will not be a friend to someone unless you really, really know the journey of their mind and their heart. And be sincere and honestly seeking to be part of that spiritual journey. And you'll notice that when we are very sincere in getting to know that person, when we ask questions, intuitively, just by the tone and the words that we use to inquire about another person, that person will determine the energy that you ask with and will share or not share. Their quality of sharing will be depending on the sincerity of your inquiry. It's very, very important principle in developing deep divine friendships. And the superficial communication that we have, it does not penetrate the heart. It does not penetrate the heart because people are simply, they know they're used to you asking, how was your day? What did you do? What's your plan in life? Very generic, very broad questions. And sometimes very small questions that doesn't really give time to really penetrate deeper than the mind, deeper than the senses, deeper than what you can see and hear. So therefore, in divine friendships, we're always trying to connect with the divine, and divine is the journey of an individual's heart. And that is where the relationship, the friendship deepens. And in that heart, whatever is there, it could be joy, it could be sadness, it could be so many things. Whatever is in the heart, we're able to share. And you'll notice, my dear friends, that when you inquire in this submissively and humbly listen with utter sincerity, you'll naturally realize everyone around you will start to reflect that loving, compassionate inquiry that you have. So much so, you'll create a community around you. The world nowadays are struggling for identity and belonging and community. But simply by using these two important principles given to us by Rupa Goswami, the great saint, simply by this humble, submissive inquiry, to genuinely be part of someone's spiritual journey, he will create a community around you. And next thing you know, the whole world will be in love with you. It's actually a very simple principle. But very few people, even in the families, we do not inquire. Even sometimes you'll notice between partners, they don't take the time to inquire about their heart journey. And they're focused on the functional journey of the body and the mind, but not so much on the journey of the heart. And that is where the spiritual journey happens. That is where divine friendships develop. And those friendships that develop based on this true, authentic, loving exchange between two hearts, that journey continues on from this life to the next life. Because that's a spiritual relationship. That's a spiritual bond. It has nothing to do with any of your functional external existence. It is way deeper than that. So these are called the second, third, and fourth principles of divine friendships. Anyone keeping track of time with me? Because I generally lose track of time. Okay, we're doing okay. So now the fourth and the fifth principle of divine friendships is that you must cook for your friend, and you should offer something by cooking for that person and offering them whatever you make and then also be the recipient of whatever they cook, that you must honor it. Why is this principle so heavily emphasized in our wisdom yoga text? And the reason is because food is one of the most powerful via media of transfer of consciousness. If I want to get into the heart of Loni, all I have to do is cook for her and put my consciousness and my heart into the food, and I have to feed her. And then I can get into her heart. People think that you just buy an iPad and you buy these gadgets, you buy them some good clothes, you can get into a person's heart. But the real transfer of consciousness, the most powerful via media transfer of consciousness, is through food. And so that is why in this exchange of divine friendship, we must make something for another person. Bake some cake, some cookies, make some teas, make some soups, and cook it for that person. When we were getting trained in the monastery, one of the principles that we had to follow was that we were never allowed to eat food cooked by anyone whose consciousness was not on the same level as ours. So basically, we never ate outside. We never ate in anybody's homes because we could not verify their consciousness. We never ate in restaurants. We simply ate what the other monks had cooked. This was my life for 27 years. And you'll notice the deeper principle of this. Say when Narayani cooks, says she has friends coming to her house. Sometimes the boys used to go to her house and she would make something really nice for them. When she goes to cook, she looks at everything, she looks at every single label to see if what she's buying will be good for all the monks coming to visit her. And she would meditate 2 days ahead of time. Oh, the boys are going to come to visit me. What am I going to cook? So her meditation happens 2 days before, if not 1 week before. And then she's very meticulous in what she will get and works on the menu. So she's meditating for days and days. And then finally on the day of, after shopping everything, and finally on the day of, she's completely envisioned the whole experience. What is she envisioning? She's envisioning joy. She's envisioning laughter. She's envisioning beautiful sharing. She's envisioning exchange of love. She's envisioning so much spiritual transactions. So everything she's envisioning, she's making it manifest by consciously selecting and preparing everything. So what's happening is that her consciousness from the heart is being transferred to the senses, where all the senses are fully engaged in expressing the consciousness that's emanating from her heart. The eyes are making sure things are right, make sure everything smells right, the right temperatures. All of that happens. So when the boys finally go to her house to have lunch or something, then what happens is that everybody's so joyful. And then you wonder, why is everyone happy? It's because there was 1 week of meditation expressed through her senses in creating an environment of loving exchange. And this is why, my dear friends and families, this is how we transfer our individual consciousness and transfer it to the consciousness of others. And that's why the sage is very, very, even if you don't have anything to offer, you can still make some tea. You can still make some soup. You can still do something, because that consciousness is what is being churned in the process. And everyone gets to become the recipient. Contrary to this, look at the world today that we live in. When you go to McDonald's, when you go to Burger King, all these restaurants that we have, when you go to order your food and you eat, you'll notice that people that are cooking inside is someone who gets paid minimum wage. Someone who's just desperate to make ends meet is working there. They don't really want to work there. The content of the food is not very high consciousness. The content of the food is fear, primarily, and the anger of the employees, lack of satisfaction, and working long hours, not getting enough pay. So all that emotion of the content of the food, the server of the food, is being handed to you. And when that content of consciousness, both from the content of the food and the person serving the food and making the food, when you put that consciousness in your body, then what happens is your body is now surrounded with consciousness that is not as pure as Narayan is cooking, or your grandmother's cooking, or your friend's cooking. So therefore, this emphasis is very, very strongly presented by our sages. You'll notice in Connecticut, when we do our Food for Lives, I'm on the chat and I watch all the chats. People are preparing 4 days in advance what they will cook for the unhoused people in Connecticut. They go out and serve on the weekends. And Daksha Devi sends out the menu. Who's going to cook what? And then everyone says, I'm going to make a potato salad. Imagine someone is saying they're going to make a potato salad 5 days in advance. That means they're going to now meditate on a potato salad they will make for the unhoused people for 5 days. If you meditate on something for 5 days, guess what? You can manifest it. We don't even meditate our regular sadhana, half an hour, 1 hour a day. We don't meditate. But for the unhoused people, they're meditating for 5 days to make a simple potato salad. So the transfer of consciousness of the people who are serving the unhoused people, it's beautiful, loving consciousness. And thereby, the people who are honoring the food in the streets of Connecticut, they're so joyful when they come to eat. Haripriya can tell you, because she goes out there quite a lot. The people are so joyful. They want to talk to you. They're smiling. They're so happy to receive whatever is offered to them. Because it was the transfer of spiritual consciousness that was put into the food, of 5 days of meditation, of 20 people, each one of them 5 hours of meditation. Imagine how many hours of meditation has gone into the food that is now going to be honored by the people in the streets. So please understand, my dear friends, it is a very, very powerful transmission of consciousness. So when we want a friend to meet with us. We don't say, let's go to Burger King on a date. Let's go to this fast food restaurant on a date, or any kind of establishment for that matter, where you cannot verify the consciousness. We should invite them into our place and say, hey, please come to my house. Let's spend some time. And you make some nice tea. You make a little soup. Whatever you know how to make. And you feed that person. And you see the joy in their faces. Many times I get invited to go eat in people's homes. Nowadays, I'm not strict like I used to be. When I get invited a week in advance, 2 weeks or 1 month in advance, I know that they're thinking of what they're going to cook for me. And sometimes when you go, they cook something that you don't even like. And I still go, and I'm shocked at how I can eat something I don't like. And I fall in love with what they cook. Even though I have never eaten that vegetable, and I don't like that vegetable. It has come to a stage in my life where I will eat and I fall in love with anything you cook as long as it's vegetarian and sanctified food. Because this shortcoming of what I like and don't like is relative to my previous experiences. But when someone meditates and cooks something so nice with their heart, it's very relishable. So this is a very important principle. And when someone invites to eat in their house, we should also reciprocate. How do we reciprocate? By honoring it, not saying, I don't eat pizza, I'm sorry, my cholesterol's too high. No, we honor it. So in this way, the 6 loving exchanges of divine friendships will only deepen our friendship and bring us closer to one another, where our friendship will truly become spiritual. Just by this simple transactions of hearing one another, inquiring about each other's well-being, giving gifts and receiving gifts, cooking for a friend, and eating what they cook. So these 6 loving exchanges are called Priti Lakshanam in Sanskrit. And when you do these 6 loving exchanges, then you'll be able to enjoy divine friendships. If any of these 6 are missing, it just means you have some more work to do, that's all. And if you practice this, I can guarantee you, whoever you utilize these 6 principles, you will have deep, deep, deep friendships. And that friendships that'll transcend this material world, even on the spiritual world, because these principles are spiritual principles. And the transaction that through the 6 principles, it's a transaction of spiritual consciousness. Okay, we'll open up for any reflections or questions or any thoughts and any oppositions, any objections, whatever you'd like to share. The floor is now open. Ramananda Prabhu.
Yeah, about the power of cooking. My spiritual teacher, my spiritual master, used to say that if you cook for yourself, you never get sick. So I just remembered that. So that shows how powerful it is.
And I'll tell you something about your spiritual master because I know him well. So I used to go visit him in Orlando. And whenever I went to visit him, he would cook for me. Imagine a spiritual master of thousands and thousands of disciples that he has to take care of. He goes down and he starts cooking for me. And he starts cooking for me something that I don't like at all. You know, I'm not a fan of all this cheese and stuff that, he used to cook. But I would just sit with him and he would cook for me and I would just watch him cook. And you just fall in love with him. Even though I didn't like the food, the stuff that he would put to cook, I would sit with him and I would eat and I would relish it so much. And we developed a deep spiritual friendship. So yes, you'll be surprised, even if you don't like something, when that friend cooks with love and devotion, you'll fall in love with that person. Yes, we have Kushita and Brenda. You have a question or comment or reflection?
I hope it's not too loud. We're in a Starbucks getting ready to head on over to Food for Life. But this topic, first of all, greetings to all. I love seeing everyone, Kamala, Kamananda, Peru, and everyone. It's a pleasure to be with you. And food has been the connector to me for Food for Life. And if you don't know my story, I literally was going through a terrible situation. Well, now I know it's not terrible, but hardship. And I was desperate for Indian food. And I moved into a community that it was all Indian people. And I knocked on somebody's door and I said, I'm just aching. My heart is aching. And this food lifts my soul. Can you share? And so they did. But then they referred me to this place that sells awesome Indian food, and it was Food for Life. And the rest is history. And it's been a journey for me to be connecting with my own soul, as I have had a disconnect of food for some reason in my entire life. And definitely everything that you taught today, Vaida, is spot on. I mean, I feel so much more connected to me, to everyone, by sharing a meal. And it's definitely something that I need to continue to work on. There has been this rupture or disconnection or something along my path that I'm still working on it. So this was a beautiful reminder. And now my new friend Brenda, who's now a Food for Life volunteer, everything you said, we haven't talked about it, but we were both nodding in putting everything you said into our relationship. I got caught in her house and she served me food. That was our first encounter. And so thank you for these reminders.
Thank you, Kushita. Brenda, you want to share something? We cannot hear Brenda.
Yes, I'm so excited.
Yeah.
So,
Can everyone hear, or is it just me?
Okay, I don't know if you heard, but she said that maybe it's because we're sharing headphones. We had a crisis here in technology, but she's saying that her meditation is cooking, and food has been a really big part of her life, and that she's super blessed to have joined now Food for Lives. We're on our way to cook over there, and I'm very thankful.
Thank you, Brenda. Okay, anyone else would like to share anything? Any questions? Yes, Hari Priya.
I just want to say that I think I hear a lot of people commenting, like somebody will share a recipe and they'll say, oh, it's just not the same and I can't figure it out. And as you were speaking, that clearly that cooking from the heart and sharing that way has a lot to do with that, I believe. So I think that's when somebody says that's probably what it is.
Nice. Thank you, Haripriya. I know that in the monk mode we have Moses. He just loves to serve everyone. He's just such an incredible soul. Whenever I go to the ashram, which is sometimes many times a day, and he makes this incredible teas. And anytime you walk in, he's always offering you these beautiful teas. And he makes these incredible concoctions. So he thinks about how to put things together to make these teas. And it's so relishable. And you automatically become connected to him because he is offering his heart through his teas when you end up in the monk mode ashram. So yeah, you'll notice this incredible phenomenon wherever you go, because it is one of the most powerful via media of transferring spiritual consciousness. Anyone else has any thoughts, questions, comments, reflections? Kamala Devi.
I was just wondering whether it's offering gifts to others or listening to others or cook for others. You explained very nicely, or we really should do it from our heart. But the mind is always trying to creep in some expectations. So how do you deal with that? Or do you get free from, expecting something in return when you do something for others?
Yes. Sometimes mind has a tricky nature to interject itself in every aspect of our lives, and that's completely normal, actually. So beautiful question, Kamala Devi. Even if the mind wants to intervene and interject its presence through all of these transactions, we go through the spiritual exchanges anyways. And eventually the mind will just keep quiet. Because the mind, no matter where we go, it wants to follow and take credit for everything. It's just the nature of the mind, So we just have to acknowledge and observe that this is what the mind is. We don't have to listen and give into it, but we become an observer of the mind. It's a very beautiful topic we've been discussing in the Gita last 2-3 sessions in our Seeker's Quest podcast, which is right after this one. So those of you who want to join, you can go back to back 2 hours. And one of the biggest emphasis we've been making in all the topics we discuss is how the mind is an interpreter, the mind is a translator, mind is an attention seeker, constant attention seeker. Mind wants to interject itself everywhere in every aspect of our lives. Even when we don't do anything, the mind wants to have a say in it. And how to simply remain an observer and conscious observer of what the mind does. And we just carry on with our lives. So please know that you cannot tell the mind to just get lost. You cannot lock it up somewhere. You cannot say, shut up, and it's not going to listen. So just observe the mind and just carry on with the 6 loving exchanges. I don't know if that helps at all, Kamala Devi, because I know for those of you who have come to Belgium, Kamala Devi's cooking is a renowned all over Belgium, and whoever knows her, whoever has ever eaten in her place, even if she just gives you, a tea, the way she presents the tea and what comes with the tea, it's just like you feel like you're royalty, because the way she serves and the meditation she puts into it, it's just, I've eaten in her house every time I'm in Belgium. And I feel treated like God, because there's so much heart put into and so much detail, attention put into every aspect of her cooking. You can tell that, cooking is her altar, that's where God lives for her. And she's, that's her temple. Kitchen is her temple. And whatever comes out of the temple is just so relishable. I don't know if you all agree, Narayani. You ate in her house, right? Keshavi, you also ate in her house, right?
So beautiful. It is just amazing how special she has the ability to make you feel through the food.
Yeah, yes. Yeah, she has mastered this art of 6 loving exchanges. Kamala is she's like on the top. I have seen, experienced firsthand. Okay. Any other? Yes, Keshavi.
So I've been traveling for the last week, and I hadn't really thought about, and I'm sick, so I hadn't really thought about like how I've been eating out literally for over a week and how that may have contributed to this little illness I have. But now that I see that it might have, my question is, like, what if my consciousness isn't in the best space to start cooking for myself now that I'm a little bit more stable in one location? It's still better to cook than go out to eat.
Yes. Your consciousness is better than taking an outside consciousness into your consciousness, than your consciousness be there for you. Because the minute you start cooking, your consciousness will transfer. Because being close to the heat, what that does is Agni, is the fire element. What it does is it actually purifies you. People think cooking is just, no, you're close to the fire element. Fire is the element of transformation. So of course, whenever you start cooking, your consciousness will get better. The funny thing is that if your consciousness is not good while you're cooking, you may burn yourself. So you're forced to be conscious of cooking. And that's very beautiful. Okay.
Is Brenda's hand up? Or
Narayani Devi has a comment.
Okay, I'll be real quick. On Thursday, I worked like 13 hours. I was so sad because I couldn't make it to Kirtan because I had to do grades for my kids. And I was crying on the way home and praying to Krishna, like, I just don't know if I can do this. And so I pulled into a Subway to get a veggie sandwich for dinner. And I immediately just said, could you please remove your gloves? I don't eat meat. Can you switch out your gloves? And she said, Narayani? And I was like, ooh, like a chill went up my spine. And it was a devotee from the temple. And she made this beautiful veggie sandwich for me. And then she wouldn't let me get Doritos because they have garlic in them. And then she's like reminding me to go by the Swami Narayan temple because it has higher consciousness if I can get there before 7 during the week so that I can eat higher consciousness food. And I'm just like, it was like a Krishna miracle. It was beautiful. And I went home and I cried on the way home because I could just feel Krishna supporting me and like I've got you, just chill, I've got you,
Amazing.
And it was just amazing. It really was. And then now we're having this talk and it's like, I don't know, I got chills all over me. Thank you.
Thank you, Narayani, for sharing. And thank you all for joining us on the Heart Space, and we will definitely see you next Saturday. Those of you who would like to join the Seeker's Quest, I'll be hopping on that call right now. Namaste, everyone, and see you soon.
Namaste. The Seeker's Quest link is in the chat if anybody wants to join.
Thank you.